It's me, your host of the Unexpected Detour, where we say, where in life detours are inevitable. Over the past several weeks, I've watched interview after interview about the tragic death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Every time I think we've reached the end of the speculation, another interview appears, another opinion, another theory, another person claiming to know something. The truth is, only the people who were there on Horn Island on July 4th knew what happened that day. The rest of us don't. Yet, that hasn't stopped thousands of people from reaching conclusions before the investigation has. I watched one person describe himself as Nolan's best friend. Then I watched someone else make the same claim. I listened carefully to what was said. And one interview left me feeling unsettled because very little that was said reflected the kind of love or respect I would expect someone to have for a person they called a best friend. Maybe that's just my perspective, but it made me think. When I hear the words best friend, I think of loyalty. I think of someone who stands beside me when life is difficult. I think of someone who protects my name when I can no longer speak. Maybe all friendships don't look the same, but it left me with questions. At the same time, my heart continues to go out to Nolan's parents. Every interview I've watched with his mother has reflected the same thing. She just wants justice. She wants the truth. Honestly, I don't think that's too much for any parent to ask. If it were my son, if it were your son, wouldn't you be asking the very same questions? What happened? How did my child die? And why? Those are questions every parent deserves to have answered. What has saddened me even more is watching how quickly this tragedy has become something else. Instead of keeping our focus on finding the truth, we turn it into arguments on social media. We've divided ourselves into sides. We've debated race, we've debated friendships, we've debated politics, we've debated everything except remembering that a young man has lost his life. Now I want to say something carefully. Whether race played a role in what happened is something investigators must determine. But there is no denying that race has become a major part of the public conversation. People have chosen sides before all the facts are known. Some people believe race explains everything. Others believe it explains nothing. Meanwhile, our family continues to grieve. I can't help but ask myself another question. If the attorney representing Noah's family was someone else, would there still be the same criticism? Would people react the same way? Or has the attorney become part of the story instead of the family's search for the truth? I'm not asking that question to defend anyone. I'm asking it because I think it's worth reflecting on. Sometimes our opinions about the people involved shape how we see the entire situation before all the facts are known. I've also seen reports that Noah's mother has received negative reviews connected to her employment because of this case, and why I don't understand. And if it's true, I find that deeply troubling. No parent should have to carry that burden while mourning the loss of a child. Sometimes I wonder whether we've forgotten how to be human. We've become so invested in being right that we have forgotten what compassion looks like. We've become so committed to winning arguments that we've forgotten there are real people living through unimaginable pain. Maybe that's the bigger conversation we should be having. Not just what happened, but what has happened to us. Have we become so consumed with our opinions that we have lost the ability to simply care? At the end of the day, I don't know what happened on July 4th. Neither do you. The investigators are still doing their work. The evidence will tell its story. Until then, I think we owe Nolan's family something. Respect, compassion, and patience. And the hope that the truth, whatever it may be, is uncovered. Because truth matters. Not for social media, not for clicks, not for interviewers, but for a mother and father who wake up every morning knowing their son isn't coming home. If today's conversation made you stop and think, I'd love to hear your perspective. How do we balance public discussion with compassion for grieving families? How do we make sure our search for answers never causes more harm than healing? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what's the truth? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. If you enjoy meaningful conversations that challenge us to think a little deeper, follow the Unexpected Detour and share this episode with someone who values honest dialogue. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Until then, remember, life is full of detours. Some we choose and some we don't. But that's why detours are inevitable.